Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I point out in response to Chairman Crapo's questions, you're the only one with, you can talk about competition, but you're the only one with a reach of 2 billion people. So that's important to remember. Facebook has a long track record of abusing users' trust. You know that, Mr. Marcus. Until recently, you headed Facebook's messaging team as you were allowing other companies like Netflix and Spotify and the Royal Bank of Canada access and read Facebook users' private messages. So be clear about what went on at Facebook. Facebook told us they were keeping our data safe when they were really allowing other companies to sift through private messages. You had to shut down those programs after huge backlash. Over and over, Facebook has said, just trust us. And every time Americans trust you, they seem to get burned. Facebook told the FEC in 2012 that it would stop abusing our data. And then last week got a $5 billion with a B, $5,000 million fine for violating that agreement. And as we know, you've even run psychological experiments on users. So sitting here today, Mr. Marcus, after all the times Facebook has abused the public's trust, and you know that, do you really think people should trust Facebook with their hard-earned money? Yes or no?
Senator, you heard it directly from Mark, and I will reiterate this, that trust is primordial.
I didn't hear it directly from Mark. I'm hearing it from you.
Trust is primordial, and we've made mistakes in the past, and we have been working and are continuing to work really hard to get better. And we've invested in a number of programs, notably on privacy, election integrity, and a number of other issues. But I want to answer your question directly for Libra. The reason we designed Libra in such a way that Facebook will only be one among 100 different members of the Libra Association and will have no special privilege means that you will not have to trust Facebook.
Well, but Mr. Marcus, you know better than that. You know that only Facebook has access to 2 billion people, and to say that you are just one of many is simply not true. After people's data and private messages have been stolen and sold, after you've let Russian bots try to throw the 2016 election with no contrition, I might add, after you've abetted genocide in foreign countries, you really think people should trust you with their bank accounts in our economy? I just think that's delusional. Let me ask a related question. If you think hardworking families should trust Facebook's monopoly money, I'd like to see how much you and your company trust it. You get a paycheck in dollars, I assume. I assume you get some pretty good compensation in Facebook stock, too. Will you pledge today in this committee that you and your team who are working on this project will accept 100% of your salary and other compensation in this Facebook currency?
Senator, Libra is not designed to compete with bank accounts or to compete with those things.
The question is, will you accept all of your compensation in this new currency that you want us to trust you so much?
Senator, Libra is not meant to compete with bank accounts. We will, for instance, not pay interest. It's like cash, like digital cash.
That's really avoiding the question. Do you trust your currency so much that you and your team are willing to see 100% of your compensation be paid to you in that currency? Which it could be if you decided it could.
Senator, if your question is whether I would trust all of my assets in Libra, the answer is yes, I would, because it is backed.
My question was,
and my pay.
Do you trust this enough to make your compensation paid fully in your currency?
Senator, I would, because it is backed one for one with a reserve.
You could have said yes at the beginning of the question then. Okay.
Senator, with respect, I wanted to clarify that we're not trying to compete with bank deposits.
Okay, let me finish with the last question. You said you're open to Facebook about your company creating, you've said that you're open to feedback about your company creating a new currency. I've told you I think this is a bad idea. The Republican chairman of this committee has raised concerns. The Democratic chair, Maxine Waters, in the Senate, in the House, has demanded you give up on this project. The chairman of the Federal Reserve sat in front of this committee, the Humphrey Hawkins hearing last week, and voiced numerous and serious concerns. Even the President of the United States has told Facebook to back down. That's not to mention the many international leaders who have raised serious alarm. My question is this, is there anything, Mr. Marcus, that elected leaders and economic experts can say that will convince you and Facebook that it should not launch this currency?
Senator, we agree with all of the concerns, very legitimate concerns that were raised by Chairman Powell, Secretary Mnuchin, and many others. And this is why we released our white paper so much ahead of any public launch, because we wanted to ensure that we take the time to get this right. And getting this right means addressing these concerns in full and ensuring that there's proper regulatory oversight for this project. And we're fully committed to doing what it takes to get there.
But if all, Mr. Marcus, with all due respect, if all of us who have seen the collective amnesia of this Congress in terms of what happened 10 years ago in my zip code in Cleveland, 44105, where there were more foreclosures than any zip code in the United States a decade ago, if all of us find this to be a bad idea, think you shouldn't do this launch, are you still going to do it?
Senator, what I heard from Chairman Powell, from Secretary Mnuchin, and many others, is that there were serious legitimate concerns that arose from Libra, and I will commit again to do what it takes to address these concerns. And if those concerns are not addressed, and if the regulatory oversight is not appropriate, then we will not launch until it is.
Thank you.
That speaks a lot, Mr. Chairman, to their accountability and their trustworthiness.